One of the major benefits of cover crops is weed management. But rather than wait until the off-season to implement your cover crop plan, new research shows that interseeding cover crops with the cash crop can help reduce herbicide injury and it won't impact yield. Market Journal's Maddie McIntosh has the story.
Cover crops have been the talk of the town for the past few years. But as Nebraska Extension's Chris Proctor is researching, interseeding your cover crops within your cash crop can have even more benefits than planting post-harvest.
You think cover crops in general, it's trying to establish a cover crop primarily for these ecosystem services we like to talk about. And so again, soil erosion, capturing excess nutrients so they don't leach out of the system, suppressing weeds. And so when you're thinking about growing biomass is primarily driven by water, light, nutrients, heat, temperature. And so as you get later and later in the season, when you think about establishing a cover crop after harvest, the conditions are less conducive for plant growth. And so the benefits of interseeding are you're trying to capture part of that growing season when it's more conducive for cover crop growth. So.
It's not just as easy as dropping a few seeds on the ground. When it comes to planting, there are two ways to get the job done.
When we talk about interseeding, there's really two types of interseeding. There's a broadcast interseeding, and so this would be flying over with an airplane or a high clearance machine that would just drop the seed right on the surface. And this can be done at a number of different stages, whereas there's more and more research and equipment development. We're looking at drilling cover crops into a growing crop, and so there's high clearance drills that are being used, and that's where interseeding is usually done a little bit earlier. And the advantage of drilling over broadcast, drilling puts the seed down in the soil where you get better seed to soil contact and typically you get better germination emergence, where broadcast is really reliant on having some kind of rain event or precipitation available to that crop. So if it's really dry after you broadcast, typically established is poor. And so you're much more tied to environmental conditions with broadcast interseeding.
And just like with most things in the ag industry, timing is key to a successful season.
Most of the research done on interseeding, there's a balance that has to take place. So if you interseed too early, that cover crop tends to compete with either the corn or soybeans, and that would result in yield loss. And so most of the research done has shown that interseeding between V5 and V8 in corn is really the ideal window. If you can interseed in that window, typically there isn't any effect on the corn yield. That window is so short. If you think on corn from V5 to V8, that doesn't give you a very wide window, and if weather isn't cooperating, you can see how you can miss that window really quickly. And so really you want to have your seed ready and make sure your equipment's ready to go. I would say by kind of that V3, that really early season stage. So if you think I want to get in the field at V3 and the weather keeps you out, the likelihood you'll be in there by V5, V8 is ideal. And so I would back up a little bit, make sure you're ready to go so that when that window hits, you can get out in the field. For broadcast, I think the window's a little bit wider. There's growers that are interseeding V5, V6 stage of corn a little bit later, and I think the flexibility at that time is a little bit broader, so it's probably not quite as critical.
Reporting for Market Journal, I'm Maddie McIntosh.
Chris and his team got a new interseeding machine near the end of the season. He says he's excited to use it in the upcoming years to continue his research.